Good afternoon and welcome to Valley Views. I'm your host, Glenn Edison. We're certainly glad to have you, and we're thankful for our sponsor, BTC Fiber. And you can see our programs on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as BTC Fiber Channel 18. And today we have with us Glenn Barker, Chairman and longtime banker of Citizens Tri-County Bank. And Mr. Barker, thank you for being with us today. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
I guess to start off, because I know we've had a lot of new people move into the area and they just trying to find a bank and they don't know the history of Citizens Tri-County Bank. So how about giving us a little bit of history?
I'll give you a little bit of history. I was born in 1935 in the middle of the Depression, and life was pretty simple when I was born. It's not like it is today. But to fast forward, I was a farmer. I went to University of Tennessee, majored in agriculture with dairy production. I came back home and run a dairy farm in partnership with my brother. Never had any thought of ever getting involved in banking. And then in probably 70, I got involved with some people in the community about creating jobs and creating opportunities for people in Dunlap and Sequatchie County. And when we did, we found out there wasn't any capital. And what happened, and I'm not saying what I'm about to say derogatory, but I know Bledsoe County, Sequatchie County, Marion County, and Woodbury in Cannon County was one bank towns. After World War II, there's one bank in each of those towns. And when you had a one bank in a town, there's no competition, and they control the money and the finances. And when you do that, you control the politics and everything else that goes on in the county, basically. So that's kind of what we run into in '72 when we started trying to recruit business. So we said, what we need is another bank, competitive banking. And I'm not critical of another bank. We'd done the same thing if we'd been in their shoes, probably. So I'm not critical of that. But we said if we had competitive banking, that would solve a lot of our problems. So we were kind of unique in our organization because we was all business people. If you look at Rockport Bank, Chattanooga just formed a year or two ago. If you read the headline, it says, former bankers organize a new bank. So we were different. We were business people. We didn't have a banker involved at all when we started. And we didn't know anything about banking. But the state wouldn't approve us for a charter until we hired a banker. So what we did, we went along toward the end of our organization, and then we hired a banker and brought him in as an organizer so the state would approve us.
And then that was back in the early 70s, right?
As we got a charter. We got the charter in July of '72 and opened in a trailer just north of the bank in October the 3rd, I think it was, '72.
Yeah, and from that one trailer, y'all have grown immensely over the years, have you not?
We have, and we hired Henry Phillips out of Waynesboro, and he run the bank for about 8 years. And I learned a little bit of banking. I'm not a banker. I'm still not a banker. I'm a business person. But I learned some banking because I'm on the loan committee and I was on the board for 8 years. And then in the early 80s, all the organizers sold out except Flavis and I. So I don't know whether it's too stupid or what, but we didn't sell. And then Henry Phillips left. We hired another manager. He stayed 2 years. Then we hired another manager. He stayed 9 months. And in October 1983, I remember the board said, Glenn, why don't you take this job? And I never really at that point thought about being a banker. And I said, well, farming is kind of a young man's game. I said, I wouldn't care to give it a shot. In my mind, I thought I might last 90 days or 6 months. But I said, let me talk to the employees or two, and I'll let you know. So I went and talked to Ann Smith, another employee or two, and told them what the board wanted. And I said, have I got you back in? And they said, yes. I said, I'll take it. I came in October 1983 off of a dairy farm. And I've often chuckled about that because I'm not sure in today's world examiners would prove us that being qualified to be a banker. But anyway, I came in October '83, and we were $10 million in size. And we've grown from, we started out $500,000 capital, and we've grown to $10 million in those 10 years, 11 years. And so in May of '84, I'd been there about 6-8 months, I got a call from FDIC and said, we're going to close a bank in your area, would you be interested in bidding on it? And I asked where it was at, and they said the Bledsoe County Bank, this is strictly confidential because we haven't closed it yet. So I said, yeah, let me get a board meeting, I think we're interested in it. So we flew to Memphis, got the bid package, come back and had a board meeting, they approved to purchase it. We figured out what we could pay for it. Flew back to Memphis, turned in a bid, and so we were successful. Flew back home on Saturday, and Ann Smith and I got in a car and drove to Pikeville on Saturday, and we had to open on Monday in our name. So it's a little different. We bought several branches since then and opened branches. It's about a 4 to 6 month process. You don't do it in 3 days.
Yeah.
But anyway, we opened on Monday in our name. And in the end of '84, while we were, instead of 10 million, we was 15 million. And we'd made more money than we did before. So we kept trucking along and rocking along, and then it was in late '91, I heard that Nations Bank is thinking about closing the Palmer office.
Uh-huh.
So I contacted him. I said, would you be interested in selling Palmer's office? And then we said we'll sell you the whole Grundy County operation.
Really?
And I said, yeah, we might be interested. So we started negotiating the price, and it took us about a year to get in agreement, but we finally agreed on the price, and we closed that in the fall sometime of '91, opened in '92. So that's really what got us started. That really doubled in size, and it doubled the profit, and things started moving along pretty good after that.
So your customer base has really gone up as well,
Oh
hasn't
yeah, we've got, I think we send out about 30,000 statements.
it? Wow.
Yeah, every month. So our DDA counts is over 30,000.
Wow, that's great. That's good.
And so, but you know, going back where we came from a little bit, from about 81 or 82 to about 86, there's 5 banks closed in a 50-mile radius of Dunlap.
Really?
There's United Bank Chattanooga, Bledsoe County Bank, Warren County Bank, Colmont Savings Bank, and First National Bank Tracy City. They all closed in that time period. So that shows you how vulnerable we was. We could have easily fell in that same group, but we was fortunate and didn't do it. So we're still here today. And we end up, what's kind of ironic, we ended up buying all those banks except United.
Uh-huh.
We ended up buying Warren County Bank, Bledsoe County Bank, Colmont Savings Bank, and First National Bank Tracy City through the years.
Well, y'all more community-oriented bank anyway.
Yes, we are.
I mean, y'all get involved in a lot of, I know just here, because that's where I live, of course, and I'm not in the other communities, but I know you're involved in a lot of things.
I think our philosophy is that it's, you know, we make our money in the community, and we need to donate some back to the community. That's kind of our philosophy.
Well, that's go ahead. No.
And you know, it's we just kind of kept growing, and you know, I still don't consider myself a banker. I consider myself a businessman. And I was kind of fortunate when I teamed up with Ann Smith.
Mm-hmm.
She was really the banker, and I was a business person. And we really made a good team over the years.
Yeah, she's a good lady.
Yeah, she's smart and a good banker,
Mm-hmm.
and it really worked out well.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing. Every time I've been in Citizens, people are always smiling. They're always ready to help, no matter what question you have.
We get, you know, it's not what Glenn Barker did or any of us did. It's our employees that really made us. They step up if we got a problem or something needs solving. You know, they work 24 hours a day to solve that problem. They never question it. They do the job.
And they do. Go right ahead. Yes, they do. They're I know they're dedicated employees. They go out and they're everywhere. You know, at events. you know, it's not just sporting events, it's local events, festivals, and just all kind of fundraisers, and they're just a community-oriented bank, and they're there to help.
And you know, we branched into Signal Mountain, we branched into Saudi Daisy, and I've had several people say, "When are you going downtown Chattanooga?" I said, "We're not." I said, "We're a country bank, we're a community bank. You know, we might go on the outskirts, but we're not going downtown. That's not our niche."
No, that's a different.
It's a different kind of a different world.
Yeah, it
It
certainly
really is.
And I've noticed of all the places that you're located, like I say, it's community oriented, it's small town banking, where you can develop friendships, not just a client and customer, you know.
And all of our branches are operated just like a independent community bank. In other words, our branch managers, you know, they make decisions on the spot, and they make loans on the spot. We got a loan committee, they don't stand wrong, but they take care of community service, they take care of make all those decisions just like a local community bank. And I think that's been a lot of our success.
Oh, I think so, because you've done well. Now, how many are actually on your board now?
We got nine.
Nine
People on the board.
Now, is that do you have members from other communities on the board?
We've got one, Ronnie Swafford from Bledsoe County. The rest of them are local here.
Oh, okay, all right. And your son John, I know he works hard.
John, you know, I'm gonna brag on him a little. You know, I've been involved with Tennessee bankers for years and years, and I know a lot of sons of bankers that didn't make it. You know, over half of them, you know, come in and is going to take over from a dad and didn't make it. But John's done a wonderful job, and I moved upstairs, and we celebrated our 40th years in 2012. And I moved upstairs, and John took over as CEO and president in 2012. And we've doubled nearly in the last 10 years. I think we're 600-something million to we went over $1 billion last year in size.
Oh, that's great.
And you know, I never in my lifetime thought we'd ever come close to that.
It's a long way from 10 million, isn't it?
It's a long way from 10 million.
Well, that's great.
But we moved to Warren County, and then we moved to Coffee County, and then we ended up in about 2 years ago in Franklin County. So that made her, and Van Buren, we went to Van Buren in 2011, so that made her 9 counties.
9 counties.
And what's kind of neat about it, we all join each other, all of them join.
Right, yeah. That's a neat thing.
And you know, I think having a $1 billion bank headquartered in a town like Dunlap is tremendous advantages for the community of the bank, for the community of the county, and the whole bit.
Well, not all banks can say that.
You know, you don't see many banks that size. Most of them move to the big cities.
Right.
I know First Volunteer, their headquarters in Marion County for a long time, but after they got a certain size, they moved to Chattanooga. Yeah. And a lot of banks move to the big cities. And I think one reason they do that is to get help, get employed. You know, it's hard to get, you know, everybody don't live in Dunlap, Tennessee.
Yeah.
You know, but everybody lives in Chattanooga where, you know, it's easier to get talent when you're in big cities. I think that's probably it.
Yeah, but here, like I said, the friendliness, you know, the help. I'm not saying that they don't have that in Chattanooga either. But,
yeah, that's right.
But it's just more of a person here where everybody knows everybody.
That's right.
And so they can help each other. They know their situations.
Yeah.
And that makes it a better, at least for me, it makes it a better. Now the current bank, I know that wasn't always there when you made your improvements a few years ago. When was that?
We opened a trailer.
Yeah.
And we built the main office, and we had open house on the 3rd Sunday in May. The reason I remember that's when we have decoration at our church. The same Sunday, 3rd Sunday in May in 74 or 73. We opened that main office, and then in 93, well, prior to 93, probably 89, 90, we got in discussion with the board that we want to move out of town. Was outgrowing our size.
Right.
And we said, do we want to move out somewhere else and do it, or do we want to stay here? And we just had a little parking around the banks all we owned.
Yeah.
And they said if we could get more parking, and we'd like to stay downtown. And look back on it, it's really helped make downtown us being here. If we was out somewhere else, it'd take a lot of activity
Oh, yes.
out of
it sure,
downtown.
it sure would.
Yeah. So it's really been a good move. But anyway, I railroad on a lot of land around us. And I contacted the railroad, and I said, "Would you sell us that property?" And they said yes. And so we negotiated the price, and they said, "We'll sell you on the west side of the railroad too, if you want it." And we wouldn't even ask about that. And we said, "If price right, we'll buy it." So we ended up buying that too. And then we started buying the buildings down there. You know, the buildings all the way down through
yeah,
there.
all the way down through.
So we bought all those buildings, and we started tearing them down. Then we got to the chamber, and we said, "You know, that's kind of a unique building." And I contacted Bill Harmon. I said, "Would the county be interested, the city be interested in organizing a chamber?" I said, "If we do, we got a building." So that's how the chamber got located here. We didn't want to tear it down. And then old Bill rooked me into putting a roof on it. He said, "Did y'all put a roof on it?" I said, "Well, we're giving you a lease. I don't want to spend no money." But anyway, we spent $3,000 or $4,000 putting a roof on it. So we didn't intend to spend, but that's okay. It's been good for the county. It's been a good community.
Yes, it has. It's very good here, and Miss Janice does a great job as a director.
And I think we started in, gosh, what, 90 something? I think we had a 10-year lease, and we're in the second 10-year lease, and I think it's about up. So, and we hadn't charged the chamber any money, so all right, so it's a free lease. And we had a lease where at least the county would pay our taxes on this property, but we never have to take that either. So it's all been free. So it's been good for us, been good for the county, and been good for everybody.
Well, it certainly has. And excuse me. And I know all your buildings back here. That's nice. I mean, you've got offices in just about every.
Yeah. Let me finish the story
sure,
about the building. In '93, we started adding on and went backing up. And I think we had 4,000 or 4,500 square feet, and we ended up with 13,000 square feet when we did that. And then we started tearing this building down, and I said, you know, we need to do something to replace those, and we ended up building a strip center back here. And we did that in 2002. And when I got through doing it, and I saw how much money we spent doing it, I said, whoo, I'm not sure we should have done that. But it turned out good, and you know, we leased out some of it to different people, but now we've got the whole thing. But one parcel's got a commercial lease, and the rest of it we're using ourselves. So it's turned out well for us. And, we got a daycare over there. It's really been good. They take care of our employees and anybody else that wants to come, as long as they got room for them.
Well, it's a nice appearance too downtown. It fits in downtown, makes downtown look. Have a good appearance.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we need is more things like that. And downtown is growing. It's coming around.
It is.
And it's just
Dunlap's growing. You know, when they organized the bank, Dunlap was 1,700 people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I don't know what we are, approaching 5,000.
Yeah, something like
maybe
that.
a little under 5, but we're approaching 5,000. So it's really a growing community.
Well,
and I think we've been a big part of that.
Right.
I like to think we are anyway.
Well, I think you have been, because like I say, you're when you think about Dunlap, I always think about the bank first, because it's right there. It's kind of the
Center Dunlap.
Center Dunlap. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Because of a long time, a lot of these buildings were vacant.
Yes.
And so there wasn't much here other than the bank, but now it's kind of being revitalized and coming around. And I think a lot of things will come around eventually. But I'm glad y'all are here because. Of course, I guess with all the other banks you have in the other counties, y'all are doing. I don't guess you're planning on any more expansion.
Well, yeah, I said it's open. I'm a businessman, and a good businessman looks for opportunities. And you know, right now it's not a good time to expand, and we've been growing like crazy without expanding. So, you know, I'm not sure we can afford to expand right now anyway. I mean, 2020, we grew more in 2020 as a bank, just natural growth, than we did any acquisition we made.
Yeah, well, good.
So, you know, and it looks like it's continuing, which we really, from our point of view, we're going a little too fast, but, you know, we'll take it.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to have growing pains.
It's good. The growing pain is good.
Yeah, I mean, because you can deal with that.
Yeah.
And I know because sometimes it's just a matter of just getting more employees to fill in the
Yeah.
spots that you need.
And you know, we've got a lot of dedicated long-term employees. I know Pam Graham. She came to work for us in '73. Linda Oaks came to work for us in '73. And they've gone through the ranks, and they've been around a long time on the job they've ever had. And
Well,
we got several. It's been there since the '70s, and they're really the key to our success.
Well, I've been here since '80, and I've seen a lot of them as I've grown, and they're still still there and still working. So that says a lot for a company to keep long-term employees.
You know, we bought probably 5 locations, and we've never laid anybody off. You know, most time when a bank buys another bank, they say, "Ooh, we're going to save some money. We're going to lay 15 people on." You know, we've never done that. We keep them on, and some will retire, and some will quit, and you know, that takes care of itself.
Yes, it does.
I know we bought Van Buren County Bank, and there's a lady that, well, she's second in command out there, and we didn't need her after we bought her and put a branch manager. We didn't need her out there, so she come down out and worked till she retired, rather than lay her off. So we hadn't laid anybody off, and you know, I think it's money well spent.
Well,
Anytime you take care of people, you're doing a good job.
Well, you take care of your people, and they'll take care of you.
That's right. That's the way it works.
And I know, like say, community based, so you get other people out there that work at the at your bank, and they might have friends that have business otherwise, and if they decide they need a new loan or a new account, they may come to your bank.
And you know, we might talk a little bit about technology. You know, technology has sure changed. I remember we used to do the old proof machine, and I remember it well. We got the first computer in 1984, and I think it's $4,600 hitting the printer. Excuse me. And you had a note on, you put in like a typewriter, and it'd print the note out, you know.
Yeah.
Now everything's printed on plain paper. And we just in the process of upgrading our ATMs. They're going to do, when we get through, I might take it the rest this year and some next year, but when we get through upgrading our ATMs, they're going to be able to do 90% of what the teller can do. The teller went there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Go to the machine, it'll take care of it.
And of course,
It'll cash checks and make deposits and give you change. And
really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
I mean, you wouldn't have thought that 20 or 30 years ago.
No. I still don't understand how it works. but they can do it.
Well, and
it'll be out next year sometime. So, you know, it's gonna. You know, I like the old way, but you got to keep up. Right. You don't keep up, you fall behind. So.
Well,
and we've always been on the cutting edge. I know the internet banking came out, and John and I went down in Georgia somewhere to a seminar, and they cut about internet banking, and I don't remember when this was, but I think we were the second bank in Tennessee to offer internet banking at that time. And we said, coming back, we said, you know, what's here next year, it's coming. And as soon as we can jump in, we're going to have more experience than anybody else. So.
Right.
And we've always been kind of on the cutting edge.
Well, that's good because if you're a step ahead, like, you know, the internet changes every 6 months.
Yeah, it does.
You know, so it's like if you're going to get a computer, you better get one that you really don't need right yet, because right. You'll need it sooner or later. And well, I know that the banking has changed so much, and hopefully, though, you'll always keep the personal side to it, and that won't go away.
No, as long as I'm involved, you know, I said I moved upstairs, and one good thing about being upstairs, I get to participate in the good stuff, and the bad stuff I let somebody else take care of that. So yeah. That's really good. Yeah. So I love that part of it. So,
I bet.
Yeah, I'll tell you another tale. When John took over in 2012, in my mind, I thought, well, you know, I'd like to stay on as chairman. I'm chairman of the bank, chairman of the holding company, and chairman of the board. And, you know, that's kind of keeps me involved. And I said, I'd like to kind of, in my mind, I didn't say this to anybody. I thought, I'll take around I'm 85. And I turned 86 my last birthday, and I went to John the other day. I said, John, reckon we could raise that to 90? Yeah. So, I've worked all my life. I grew up on a farm. Dad had a business in town, place I run the farm. Somebody asked one day, said, I said, I can't remember when I learned to drive. They said, you can't? I said, do you remember when you learned to walk? They said, no. I said, well, I started driving about the time I was walking. So we run the farm when we were just kids. We didn't know back then it was dangerous. So
yeah,
we survived.
No one told you it's dangerous.
Nobody told us dangerous. We didn't have any regulations or anything. So we was our own deal.
Well, that's certainly. Now, is there anything else you'd like to tell us that we haven't asked or talked about?
No, not really. Dunlap, I'd like to say 2 or 3 things about Dunlap, and I think maybe we played some role in it, is we got probably one of the better school systems in the state. We've got a county government, the city government is pro-business. They work to get business, they support business, and they help people in business. And that's a real positive thing for
It is.
Sometimes you get people that's in charge that's, not for business. They want to regulate business out of existence,
Yeah.
So I like to pay the city government and the county government a compliment.
Well,
they've been good to work with, and we've supported each other, and it's been good.
Yeah, because as long as I can remember, as long as I've been here, I know the city and county have always worked together, and they have a common goal, trying to make this a better place, trying to bring.
And I think the chamber has facilitated that a little bit, because they kind of get everybody together and kind of keep everybody on the same page.
Right.
Yeah,
And
because it's easy. In today's world, especially, it's easy to get on different pages.
it certainly is.
Yeah.
And I see us. Well, I've seen us grow. I know you have. You've seen us grow from just being a real small, very rural town to we're not so rural anymore like we used to be.
No, we're not.
And
for an old country boy, on one side they say, well, I'm not too crazy about that, but as a banker, we love it.
Yeah.
Because if you grow, it's opportunity.
Well, and there's so many things here that I know a lot of people think small towns don't offer much because we don't have maybe what Chattanooga has.
I might say, I might go back, just we got a minute.
Sure.
I might go back to when I was in high school. I graduated high school in '53, and Coach Trammell and he's a football, basketball, baseball coach. Didn't have any assistants, he done it all.
Yeah.
And I went up to his 90th birthday. He lived in Salem, Virginia. I went to his 90th birthday about a year and a half ago, and then he died about 6 months after that with cancer. But I stayed in touch with him all that years. And he said, I went to school up at Union College in Barberville, Kentucky. So I believe I can get you a scholarship to play basketball. So I said, okay, we'll run up there. So we went up there, no interstates, went all in back roads,
Right, yeah.
Went up there and I tried out, and they offered me a scholarship, and I come back home. I said, that's an awful long way to go for a country boy in Dunlap, Tennessee from home. So I turned it down. And then the farm sales south office, and we got in the dairy business. And then but I kept wanting to, I don't know, something about me, I wanted to go to college. So I ended up going to University of Tennessee 3 years later. Not many people stay out of school 3 years and go to college. But I was going to say our leadership back when I was in high school was negative. They said, we're a small town, we can't do nothing, we can't have this, we can't have that. Negative. One of the leaders, I tried to enter University of Tennessee, he said, Glenn, said, you won't never make it. He said, your educational background said you can't make it at University of Tennessee. And it's that kind of attitude. But you look, we've graduated lawyers, we've graduated doctors, we've got dentists, we've got bankers, all graduates from County High School.
Right.
And you don't hear that today. Everything's more upbeat than it was then, but it's a very negative time, as I remember it back when I was getting out of high school. And all that's pretty well gone now.
Yes, because even though I've been part of the school system, I know that we do have a good school system in there as far as grades and testing. They're up there with everybody else.
Yeah.
And
that's something to be proud of. Because really, the school, the school system makes the county. It really does.
And when you compare Sequatchie County schools to the bigger schools, which have more money and sometimes they have better books and equipment than or more than we have, we do all right.
And I think sometimes we tie everything to money too much. It don't cost much to live in Dunlap as it does Chattanooga. And, you can get by less money. It don't, you don't have to tie everything to money. It's, hard work and dedication and
exactly
other things.
It's just getting down to it and doing it.
It is.
Yeah. So.
And I'd like to say that I spent 40 years in banking now. I thought I'd spend 6 months. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I've never had a job I didn't like. So
yeah.
I like people and I like business and I like a challenge. And banking sure a challenge. So
I bet
I've liked all that. So it's really been a joy to come back to Dunlap. I got through college. I went somewhere else and made a lot more money I made down in south of Dunlap running a dairy farm. But it turned out okay.
Yeah, it certainly did. Well, we're glad you came back and stayed here.
And I'm glad too. And if you go down, I go to Chapel Hill Church. My dad, my granddad, my great-granddad, my great-great-granddad is buried in Chapel Hill Cemetery. And my great-great-great-granddad came over from North Carolina, buried over at Pan's Chapel across the river.
Oh, really?
So I guess I've drawn back my ancestors.
Yeah. They probably called you back.
Probably called me back.
They probably gone and got you if you hadn't come
But
back.
it's home to me, and I've enjoyed it, and I've had a wonderful life.
Oh, great.
And I'd like to say one word about when I went to UT, I met the love of my life, Patsy Lingenfelder. And she's been a great joy through the years, and she's supported me, and I don't think I'd have been where I am today if it hadn't been for her.
That's right. A good woman's always found a good man.
That's right. So yeah. I'd like to throw that in too.
Well, great. Well, Mr. Barker, it's been a pleasure to have you today, and I appreciate you being with us. Thank you very much.
Enjoy it.
And
thank you.
Hang right here. And folks, you can see this interview on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as BTC Fiber's Channel 18. Hey everybody, this is Glenn Edison from Valley Views. We appreciate you watching our shows, and we would like for you to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, as well as like and subscribe to our YouTube page.
Brought to you by Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative, your full-service telecommunications provider right here in the Sequatchie Valley.